The early morning sun barely pierced the fog hovering over the middle school field. Dew clung to the grass like tiny glass needles, and a cold stillness lingered in the air, one that didn't quite belong in a place filled with laughter just hours later. Mr. Lyons was the kind of teacher parents trusted without question, a man in his mid-50s with silver-streaked hair, a permanent smile, and the kind of calming voice that could pacify a room full of hormonal teenagers. He was well liked. To the staff, Mr. Lyons was passionate, an advocate for health and mental clarity. "Let's introduce yoga," he suggested one morning during a faculty meeting. "It's not just exercise, it's mindfulness." At first, everyone thought it was strange. Yoga for 6th graders? But his pitch was convincing. He talked about focus, flexibility, emotional balance. The school approved it, the parents applauded it, and the kids? They just went along. That's when things began to change. The first few sessions were innocent enough. Mats rolled out on the cold gym floor. Calm music, breathing techniques. Mr. Lyons walked through the aisles, gently correcting postures. But as the weeks passed, a pattern emerged. He stopped paying attention to the boys. Instead, he hovered closely over the girls. His hands lingered too long. His voice got softer when he spoke to them. And his eyes seemed to observe more than posture. His favorite pose? Downward dog. He made the class hold it longer, then longer still, while he slowly walked behind the girls, correcting angles, watching, smiling. Then came the uniform change. Mr. Lyons proposed it at a staff meeting with a perfectly crafted rationale. "Yoga is about movement and freedom. Let's allow the girls to wear skirts. More natural flow. Boys can keep shorts. They need structure." No one objected. Why would they? He had built trust like a fortress. The next twist came like a plot point no one saw coming. Mr. Lyons planned a field trip. A yoga and swimming day at the beach. The day arrived with unusual overcast skies. The air felt heavier than usual. The students changed and assigned cabanas while teachers stood outside, chatting, distracted. But Mr. Lyons? He wasn't outside. He kept slipping in and out of the girls' changing area, always with an excuse. Supervising, checking on behavior, forgot something. Still, no one said a word, not even the girls, not even the teachers. Because monsters like Mr. Lyons don't wear masks. They wear smiles. Until everything shattered. In early 2016, the news broke. The headline alone chilled the entire community. Local gym teacher caught filming students. Hidden camera pen discovered. Mr. Lyons had been arrested. Inside his home, police found footage. Hours of it. Dozens of students. Dozens of angles. Yoga sessions, changing rooms, even the beach trip. Cow. A pen. Ordinary. Innocent. Except the lens was microscopic. Embedded at the tip. He kept it in his front pocket, recording silently. But what haunted everyone more than how was why. The footage wasn't for his own eyes. He had been uploading and selling it on the dark web to predators, to buyers, to people who paid to see what only he could capture. When interrogated, Mr. Lyons didn't deny it. In fact, he confessed in excruciating detail. He even admitted to scripting the yoga sessions for optimal angles. And yet, no one ever suspected him. Because evil doesn't always come with claws, or blood, or madness. Sometimes it comes with polite laughter and a clipboard. The court records were sealed. No public statement was made beyond the arrest. But the school removed every yoga mat, and every mirror, and every innocent illusion they once had about the smiling man in gym clothes. Sometimes the monsters don't hide in the woods. They teach gym at your school. The night was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of silence that wraps around you like a heavy blanket, pressing against your chest. Julia lay in bed, half asleep, her fingers curled around the edge of her blanket. Outside, the wind whispered through the trees. Her room was dimly lit by a nightlight, casting long shadows across the ceiling. Then, everything changed. Without warning, her bedroom door creaked open. Not fast, not slow, just enough to let dread seep in like mist under the floorboards. And standing there, silhouetted against the hallway light, was something. A figure. Tall. Motionless. Shrouded in darkness. It had no face, no eyes, just an outline of something human. But wrong. And then it spoke. Its voice wasn't loud. It was low, hollow, cold. Your dad will die when you're 22. That was it. One sentence. Then the door shut. Julia woke up screaming. She bolted upright, drenched in sweat, her breath coming in gasps. The room was empty, the hallway dark, the door closed. The next morning, her parents sat quietly at the kitchen table while Julia retold the dream, her voice trembling. Her father tried to laugh it off. "Dreams aren't real, sweetheart," he said, though his eyes didn't match his smile. "You told me, so now it can't happen. That's how these things work, right?" He squeezed her hand. "I'll be fine, I promise." But Julia remembered thinking, some promises can't be kept. Time passed. The dream faded, but never disappeared. And Julia never forgot the number. 22. She turned 16, then 18, 20, 21. Every year the shadow loomed closer, invisible but ever present. And then she turned 22. 3 hours later, her father was dead. It was sudden, an accident, she said. The details weren't shared, only that she'd spoken to him that morning, like any other day. They'd said, "I love you." 3 hours later, he was gone. No warning, no second chances. The prediction had come true. Julia posted the story on Reddit years later, her voice calm but hollow. Some readers tried to explain it away. Coincidence? Manifestation? Psychological trauma? But others believed her. Because deep down, they too had dreams that whispered warnings. Or shadows that stood in the doorway, just watching. And they knew. Some dreams aren't dreams at all. They're reminders of how fragile life is, and how the unknown sometimes knows us. The house was small but warm, nestled at the end of a quiet street. Marianne's one-bedroom rental had always felt safe. The kind of place where you could hear the hum of your fridge and the rustle of wind through the blinds. She lived alone. She liked it that way. At first it was the groceries. Marianne noticed things vanishing faster than usual. A loaf of bread gone in 2 days instead of 5. Leftovers that she swore she'd saved mysteriously missing. She chalked it up to forgetfulness. Stress, work, age, who knows. But then came the dishes. She'd wake up to an extra coffee mug in the sink, or a spoon she hadn't used. They were just there, wet, unwashed, out of place. Then it escalated. Wet towels. At first, only once, then again, and again, on days she didn't shower. By now, the warmth of her little home began to feel thinner, like something unseen was pressing its weight against the walls. She asked herself the same question every night. Is someone in here with me? Still, she didn't want to believe it. Until the thumps started. Late one night, as rain tapped gently against the windows, she heard it. A dull, rhythmic noise above her. Thump, thump, from the attic. Maybe it was boxes, shifting. Maybe raccoons, or old beams adjusting in the cold. She tried to ignore it, but it kept coming back, louder, closer. One night, she couldn't take it anymore. She grabbed a flashlight, climbed the attic ladder, her fingers trembling on every rung. She pushed open the hatch. Cold, stale air spilled into her face. She shined her light and froze. A sleeping bag, a hot plate, a small radio, wrappers, dozens of food wrappers. Someone had been living up here. She staggered down and locked herself in the bathroom, shaking. When the police arrived, she showed them everything. She recounted every towel, every dish, every sound. They took her seriously. The next day, they waited. It didn't take long. Just after lunch, a man appeared, climbing a tree, heading toward the attic window. They caught him. He didn't resist. During interrogation, he told them everything. He'd been homeless, desperate. The attic had been his shelter. He waited until Marianne left for work, then came down, ate, cleaned, sometimes even showered. When she returned, he crept back into hiding. It had gone on for weeks. But here's the part no one expected. When Marianne saw him, his frail body, his downcast eyes, the way he kept apologizing, she didn't feel rage. She felt pity. He was polite. He was clean. He was respectful. Instead of pressing charges, she made a choice no one understood. She let him stay. "You're not a ghost," she told him, "but you were haunting me all the same." She helped him find a job. She let him keep the attic, just until he got back on his feet. For a while it worked. But then one night she came home, and he was gone. No note, no sign of struggle, no call. Just the sleeping bag, folded neatly, and something else. A single photo, tucked under the pillow. It was Marianne, asleep in her bed. The image was taken from above, from the attic vent. The night was still, too still. Outside Ryan's window, the streetlights buzzed softly, painting the pavement in pale orange. His dog, a husky mix named Blue, had already curled up by the foot of the bed. Ryan reached over, turned off the bedside lamp, and sank into the mattress. He had almost drifted off when it came. A scream, far away, echoing, thin but sharp enough to pierce through the silence. Ryan sat up, blinking. Was it real? A dream? Kids playing late. Blue didn't react. He lay still, eyes closed. Ryan let it go. 10 minutes passed. Then, another scream. This time louder, closer. Blue's ears perked up. Ryan sat straighter. The scream came again, and now it was just outside. Blue leapt up, growling, his fur bristling. He raced to the window and pawed at the glass. Ryan followed, heart pounding. He peeked through the curtains. Nothing. Just the street, empty and glowing. But Blue wouldn't stop. He growled low, like something primal had kicked in. Then a final scream, louder than all the rest. Right outside the window. Blue lost it, barking, snarling, clawing. Ryan stumbled backward, his legs giving way beneath him. He crawled to the bed and pulled a blanket over his head like a child. Then, silence. No scream, No barking. No sound. Just. When Ryan finally peeked out, the street was the same. Empty. Still. But now minutes later, the silence shattered again. This time with flashing red and blue. Police cars. 3 of them. They pulled up without sirens. Officers jumped out, flashlights sweeping through bushes, over rooftops, under porches. Something serious was happening. Ryan didn't dare go outside. He just watched. Waited. Eventually they left. The next morning, Ryan stepped outside to find his neighbors gathered near the mailboxes. Whispers? He asked someone what had happened. The woman looked pale. Someone escaped from that psychiatric facility near the edge of town. Ryan's stomach dropped. They say he ran through here, screaming. Ryan barely managed a nod. He wanted to ask more. But then, had a knife, she added. They found him under someone's front porch. Ryan's legs turned to ice. He didn't need to ask which porch. He hadn't imagined it. The screams, the barking, the emptiness. They weren't warnings. They were part of the hunt. And Ryan was the prey that never stepped outside. The one who stayed hidden beneath blankets. Unseen. Untouched. Alive. In the late 90s, the internet was like a strange new city. Unmapped, dark in places, filled with voices calling out through glowing message boards. Joe was one of those voices, young, curious, and a little lonely. He'd spend hours chatting with strangers, most of them harmless, most of them bored. Then he met Slim Guy 65. At first, it was public posts, nothing private. Their conversations were witty, respectful, just 2 guys talking movies, books, and life. Then came the email. Not from Slim Guy 65, but someone else. Hey, I saw you chatting with that guy. My friend met him once. It didn't end well. He tried to tell the police, but no one believed him. Just be careful, please. No name, no return address, just that message. Joe's fingers hovered over the keyboard. He replied, asking for more information. But nothing came back. Weeks passed. The warning faded. Until Slim Guy 65 messaged again. Want to meet up sometime? Joe hesitated, but curiosity, stupid burning curiosity. He agreed. They chose daytime. Joe figured daylight meant safety. When he arrived, the neighborhood was quiet. The house, empty. Not abandoned, but wrong. Slim Guy 65 opened the door with a soft smile. Mid-40s, pale, clean-shaven, soft voice. Joe stepped inside. The living room was barren. No couches, no TV. Just empty walls and polished hardwood. It's not really my house, Slim Guy 65 explained. I'm watching it for a friend who's overseas. Joe nodded. The lie felt thin, but he let it slide. Then click. The door locked. Not just a twist. A deadbolt. Joe turned. Why? Did you lock the door like that? Slim Guy 65's smile wavered. Didn't want anyone interrupting. Joe's chest tightened. He forced a laugh. Can I get a tour? Of course, the man said. The kitchen had no chairs, no table. Just a stainless steel slab in the center, cold, clinical. This used to be a doctor's office, Slim Guy 65 offered, almost too quickly. The hallway was darker. Every door? Ed bolted from the outside. Room after room. Dark. And clean. Until the final one. The bedroom. Joe didn't step inside. He stopped in the doorway. His voice was steady, but something inside him screamed. "What exactly did you want to do here?" Slim Guy 65 froze. His words came in fragments, nonsense, mumbled sentences. Joe didn't wait. He turned, walked fast. His heart beat like war drums, his palms slick with sweat. At the door, he fumbled the bolt. Unlocked. Open. And he ran. Out, into daylight, into air, into life. He never reported it. What could he say? A weird guy in a weird house with weird furniture? No crime, no proof, just instinct. But the memory stayed. Years passed. Then, the news. Early 2000s. A string of disappearances. Men, young, gay, local, vanished without a trace. One body found, others never recovered. Joe looked at the screen, at the map. The victims had all met someone online. His blood ran cold. Was that house their last stop? Was that man their final face? He would never know for sure. But some nights he still dreams of a steel table and doors that locked from the outside. For Owen, the mall was a second home. At 16, there wasn't much else to do in his small town. He'd wander aimlessly for hours, food court soda in hand, earbuds in, time melting under fluorescent lights. That night was like any other. The mall was about to close. Stores pulled down metal gates. Cleaners wiped smudges off glass. Owen ducked into the bathroom one last time before heading out. He entered a stall, locked the door, sat down. The overhead lights buzzed. A faucet dripped somewhere. Then a creak. The door opened. Weak footsteps, slow, heavy. They echoed too loudly in the tiled silence. Someone else, he thought. Just someone else. Until the steps stopped. Right in front of his stall. Owen leaned forward slightly, heart tapping against his ribs. He looked down and saw them. Two massive red clown shoes planted directly in front of his door. His stomach twisted. He froze. Minutes passed. The shoes didn't move, didn't shuffle, didn't speak. Just stood. Owen held his breath. Then finally, the shoes turned, stepped away. He counted to 10, opened the door, and there he was. A man, dressed head to toe in a full clown costume, makeup, wig, painted smile, polka dots and all. Standing silently, looking directly at Owen. Not speaking, not laughing, just staring. Owen bolted. He didn't look back, didn't wash his hands, didn't slow down. He sprinted out of the bathroom, out of the mall, into the parking lot, and didn't stop running until he reached his car. The clown didn't follow, but the feeling did. The next week, Owen tried to forget, told himself it was a prank, some creep with bad taste. Then, he read the headline. Security increased at mall after nighttime stabbing, suspect wore clown costume. His blood ran cold. The article said a man had been attacked outside the same mall days after Owen's encounter. The description matched. Exactly. Same oversized shoes. Same paint. Same silence. Police were still searching. Owen stared at the screen, realization crawling like frost over his spine. He hadn't met a clown. He had stared death in the face, and it had smiled back. Ethan was only 6 when the witch moved in next door. At least, that's when he called her Mrs. Fitch. Elderly, thin, always dressed in black. She didn't smile, didn't wave, but she watched. Every day. From her window, from her doorstep, from behind curtains that never moved. Ethan felt it in his bones. Something about her wasn't right. At night, things got worse. His rocking horse creaked back and forth on its own. Dolls blinked when they shouldn't. And from inside the walls, soft, deliberate knocks. Tap, tap, tap. It's the pipes, his dad would say. But Ethan knew better. The darkness wasn't just in the house. It was coming through the walls. Then, one day, they got locked out. Ethan and his mom had no choice. She knocked on Mrs. Fitch's door, asking to borrow a phone. The door creaked open. The apartment smelled like old candles and dry herbs. Inside, the walls were lined with upside-down crosses, horned masks, and shelves filled with strange bottles. Candles burned in every corner. None of them scented. All of them watching. Ethan held his mom's hand so tightly, her knuckles went white. They made the call. They left. Quickly. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. He dreamed of red eyes watching him from the ceiling. The next morning, something changed. Mrs. Fitch smiled. The first time ever. She offered Ethan a piece of candy. Sticky, wrapped in faded green foil. He shook his head. But later that day, a little girl at the playground, Mrs. Fitch's granddaughter, offered him the same kind of candy. He ate it. An hour later, he collapsed. His skin turned gray. His lips cracked. Sweat drenched his clothes. His eyes rolled back. The doctors ran tests. Nothing made sense. His organs weren't failing. But his body was shutting down. Out of desperation, his family called a priest. They circled Ethan's bed. They prayed. They anointed him with holy oil. And then, he vomited black. Thick, oily, like tar mixed with ash. And then, he was fine. The fever broke. His breath returned. His body calmed. They asked around. The girl's candy. From Mrs. Fitch. Days later, Mrs. Fitch was gone. No goodbye. No trace. Just silence. Ethan still remembers the taste. Metallic, bitter, cold. He never saw her again. But sometimes, when he walks alone at night, he swears he hears knocking. Tap, tap, tap. From inside the walls. It started with a summer camp. Kimberly was 13. She and her best friend Anne were sent into town for a harmless social experiment. Practice talking to strangers. Conduct a little survey. It was supposed to be fun. Until they met him. An older man. Friendly. Too friendly. He didn't just answer their questions. He asked his own. Where are you girls from? What are your names? What do you like to do? They thought nothing of it. Until days later, their phones lit up. A strange Instagram account, @EdPatsis. He liked their oldest photos, left comments. So pretty. You growing up fast. Then came the DMs. And the pictures. Inappropriate. Unmistakable. They blocked him. The account vanished. They exhaled, But it wasn't over. Weeks later, Ed Patsy returned, this time on Facebook. New account, same pattern. Likes, comments, messages. Then came the white truck. Kimberly saw it near her school, at the park, outside Anne's house. Coincidence? Until one day that same white truck pulled into the lot of Kimberly's mom's office. She got a glimpse of the driver. Her heart stopped. It was the man from camp. They told the police. But without proof, nothing could be done. Just stay off social media, they said. But Ed didn't need the internet anymore. Now he was watching in person. They were 17 now, stronger, but not safe. One afternoon, Kimberly was driving home when the white truck appeared in her rearview mirror. It flashed its lights. It sped up. It chased her. 25 minutes of terror red lights run, sharp corners taken, tires squealing. She finally lost him in a crowded intersection. Shaking, she called Anne. Anne was crying. That same day, a red car had followed her, tried to force her off the road. 2 vehicles, 2 men. This wasn't stalking anymore. This was hunting. Then came the news. 2 suspects arrested for an attempted kidnapping in a nearby town. One drove a white truck, the other a red car. They weren't stalking just Kimberly and Anne. They were stalking others too. That night, Kimberly posted her story online. Her final words were simple. It took years, but now we can sleep. But every time she hears tires on gravel, she still checks the mirror.